Hello and welcome. Today we are doing a POV drive in a 2011 Ford Explorer XLT, and this is a four-wheel drive model. That legendary Ford chime. Gotta love it. Okay, so this car is powered by a 3.5 liter V6, producing about 290 horsepower as well as 255 pound-feet of torque. Please go check out my previous video, which is a POV features review of this car, breaking down all the little quirks and features of it. Okay, so first off, this is a three-row SUV weighing around 6,000 pounds, so this is not a small vehicle, but it doesn't drive too big for itself. So one thing I noticed right away driving this vehicle is that it has a very touchy acceleration pedal, which is very odd to me because this is not an overly powerful SUV. So for example, when I'm just getting up to speed, the first about 10 miles an hour, it likes to throw your head back. It's definitely a pretty rough experience to get used to when you're driving this, but overall it's a pretty smooth car. It shifts tight. With 158,000 miles, it still shifts and drives very well. All the features work as intended. It has the heated seats, and visibility is pretty good. Thin front pillars, thin side pillars, but some thick rear pillars do impede the visibility a bit. So the steering feel on this, it does feel very light. Not excessively light, but still very much so on the light side. So it does pull away a little bit of the weight of this vehicle. It is pretty slow to shift because obviously I have it in economy mode. It is not tuned to be going quickly anytime soon, but it gets up to speed adequately. I'll do a little bit of a faster acceleration here once this pod of cars goes by. This road is 50 miles an hour speed limit, so I can get a little bit of speed out of here. There is some heavy body roll with this, but once again, that's very expected. Okay, now we're at 40. And finally 50. Yeah, it's not a quick car, but it gets up and goes when it needs to. This is a pretty quiet car. It suffers from a tiny bit of tire noise, but wind noise is basically non-existent, which is a very welcome addition. This has an auto rear dimming mirror, which I don't need currently, but it is a nice touch. This has a leather-wrapped steering wheel also, with very thin bolstering. I'd prefer some larger bolstering, and I don't particularly like this T pattern of the controls and the airbag mechanisms. The Speedo is right in front of you, which is very nice. A much larger analog Speedo than I am used to, with a very small RPM gauge, as you can tell, on the left. And then on the right, it does have your entertainment and radio controls. This infotainment system, definitely, it holds up well. It is Ford's early sync system, not the most modern one. The more modern one is much more flowy, but it's competent. It's a pretty good system, holds up well. Yeah, so I'm going about 53 miles per hour, and there's very minimal wind noise. So that is a very welcome addition. And tire noise is subdued as well. The ride is pretty good, pretty soft and supple. The suspension is tuned soft, of course, but that's expected for a 6,000 pound, 3-ton SUV. So let's take the exit here and explore how this drives on some smaller side roads. So heading in here, of course, the body roll is very existent, but the brake pedal with a moderately short travel distance is easy to control throughout. It's easy to get a nice smooth stop with a nice harsh lurch, which is, once again, another welcome driving feeling. So yeah, in economy mode, this does not like to get up and go. It basically stays capped RPM under 2200 RPM from my early experience. But yeah, it's a nice family SUV to drive. It's very comfortable. It does have some smaller seats, but it is pretty comfortable. The front row definitely has enough room for both the driver and the passenger. Lots of leg room and lots of elbow room as well. The windowsills are pretty low, so they don't actually impede on your view very much at all, or your feeling. I'm driving with my elbows basically out like a chicken, and it is perfectly fine in terms of space. So from a low speed, let's see. yeah, so there's that. It's a very, very grabby gas pedal, but that evens out. It's a linear to maybe even just a slow power band. It is not too aggressive, but it shifts tight. It knows what it's doing. It's well tuned. Yeah, so going over bumps, it really absorbs them very well. Has some pretty good struts. Yeah, and from the factory, obviously, as this is very easy to drive. It does have the soft blinker function where I can slightly tap it and get 3 blinks out of it, 3 indicator signals, which is also very good to have. Most modern cars are making that standard these days. And I will just head into this plaza, do a quick walk around, and we will be about done. And I will actually back in to show you the rear camera on this. Okay, parking sensors are there. And let me just step out and give you a side profile quickly. And that's going to about wrap up this review. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to check out my POV features review of this vehicle, the prior video. Thank you for watching.